Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including the latest from Tesla's record-breaking Q1 2022 earnings call, Giga Texas making new and old battery Model Ys, more new features coming to the Model Y while others get removed, the latest production at Tesla's new factories, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla's Q1 2022 earnings report is in, and it was yet another record-breaking quarter. For cash, they had an operating cash flow less capex of $2.2 billion in Q1, and profitability was $3.6 billion GAAP operating income with a 19.2% operating margin in Q1. Under operations, they talk about how production and deliveries started from Gigafactory Berlin in March, and deliveries and production started at Gigafactory Texas in April. Under revenue, Tesla mentions that their year-over-year growth was 81% for Q1 to $18.8 billion. That revenue was impacted by growth in vehicle deliveries, an increased average selling price, all the price increases we've been seeing, as well as growth in other parts of the business. Under profitability, they list that increasing with growth in vehicle deliveries, increased average selling price, reduced cost per vehicle despite inflationary pressures, lower stock-based compensation expense, increase in regulatory credit sales. But the negatives for profitability were the rising raw material, commodity, logistics, and expedite costs, as well as increase in operating expenses. Their final production numbers were 305,407 total cars produced and 310,048 total delivered. I seem to get some comments every once in a while with people asking how they can deliver more cars than they produced, and that's just leftover cars from last quarter. Likely due to supply issues, solar and storage deployment was actually down this past quarter. In Q4, solar deployment was 85 megawatts, whereas it was only 48 megawatts in Q1 of 2022. For storage deployment, it was 978 megawatt hours in Q4 of last year, and even higher than that in Q3, and it's down to 846 megawatt hours in Q1. For supercharger stations, they are now up to a grand total of 33,657 charger stalls and 3,724 stations worldwide. Incredibly impressive and continuing to grow each day. The most interesting part for me, each earnings report, is the vehicle capacity sheet. There's one big new piece of information here, and it comes in the paragraph about Texas and California. It says, quote, "In April 2022, we began Model Y deliveries from our new factory in Austin, Texas. At our Cyber Rodeo opening party, we delivered the first vehicles with 4680 in-house made cells, single-piece front body castings, and structural battery packs. We've learned now that these were delivered to employees, and they were a standard range configuration of 4680 cells with 279-mile ranges." It continues saying, quote, "This is an important milestone for our capacity growth efforts. Later this year, we expect Gigafactory Texas will be able to produce Model Ys using both structural packs with 4680 cells, as well as non-structural packs with 2170 cells. This is a big change from what most have thought was going to be the case so far. Many thought that Tesla was going to simply shift over to 4680 cells at Giga Texas, and eventually everywhere. Giga Texas was exclusively going to make the Model Y with structural battery packs, but as we've seen with 4680 cells, it is taking some time to scale those up, and Tesla doesn't want to be supply constrained by their own battery cells. So it looks like what they're planning to do now is make normal Model Ys, probably long range and performance models, with 2170 cells, just the same as they are made in Fremont. And then they will announce a standard range configuration with 4680 cells that allows them to use less of those battery cells in the scaling process. For some, this is going to be very disappointing because a lot of people have been waiting for the upgraded range, upgraded structural pack version of the long range Model Y with 4680 cells out of Giga Texas. Now it seems that Giga Texas will be actually making the same Model Y as it has been for a while now. Likely there will be some improvements to fit and finish over the Fremont factory, but it seems like both factories will be making the same exact cars there, and then they'll introduce this standard range version which will only come out of Giga Texas. It's both disappointing and something that makes total sense. For Giga Shanghai, they said, quote, "While weekly production rates were strong in Q1, a spike in cases in Shanghai resulted in the temporary shutdown of our factory as well as parts of our supply chain. Although limited production has recently restarted, we continue to monitor this situation closely." For Giga Berlin, they say, quote, "Production at Gigafactory Berlin Brandenburg started in March 2022 using non-structural packs with 2170 cells for the start of production. Ultimately, Gigafactory Berlin Brandenburg will be able to produce Model Ys using both structural packs with 4680 cells as well as non-structural packs with 2170 cells." So previously, we had thought that this factory would shift all the way over to 4680 cells, but now it looks like they're just going to add 4680 4680 cell structural battery packs as an option that is made at that factory, along with 2170 cells. One paragraph here that really emphasizes Tesla's massive advantage with battery supply says, quote, "Diversification of battery chemistries is critical for long-term capacity growth, to better optimize our products for their various use cases and expand our supplier base. This is why nearly half of Tesla vehicles produced in Q1 were equipped with a lithium iron phosphate battery containing no nickel or cobalt. Currently, LFP batteries are used in most of our standard range vehicle products, as well as commercial energy storage applications. As a result of our energy-efficient motors, a Model 3 with an LFP battery pack can still achieve a 267-mile EPA range." The only real mention on this report of the Cybertruck is reiterating what they've said in past reports that, quote, "We are making progress on the industrialization of Cybertruck, which is currently planned for Austin production subsequent to Model Y ramp." The report also has a lot of photos of the Berlin factory opening and the Giga Texas Cyber Rodeo. Overall, it's not much of a surprise that Tesla had another record quarter. We're seeing their popularity increasing every day, and it's incredibly impressive to see. I think that it makes a lot of sense what they're going to do with Giga Texas and 4680 cells along with 2170 cells to ensure that they don't cannibalize the 2170 Model Y while also making sure that they can build enough at all factories without being supply constrained by batteries. Regarding the call itself, there was a lot of discussion about raw materials and the future of Tesla. Elon Musk is extremely excited about Tesla's future, even saying he's never been more excited about Tesla's future than he is right now. The main, quote, announcement came with Elon saying they expect Cybertruck volume production in 2023 and volume production of their dedicated Robotaxi in 2024. That seems to be replacing their $25,000 car, at least in the plans right now, but we'll see how that pans out. The goal of that Robotaxi is that it doesn't have a steering wheel or pedals, it's fundamentally optimized and achieves the lowest cost per mile of any vehicle when everything is accounted for, even cheaper than a bus ticket. That 2024 volume production goal is very reliant on FSD being achieved and production of Model Y and Cybertruck going well, so I am expecting a delay, but it's exciting to hear nonetheless. For this year, Elon said Tesla is aiming for a possible goal of 1.5 million cars this year. 4680 cells should be at volume production in Q3, but definitely Q4 according to Elon. They currently have an excess of 4680 cells and won't be supply constrained until Q1 of 2023 if issues were to arise. The 2170 cells being used at Giga Texas are in place to ensure they don't run into a supply chain issue with their own cells. Lastly, for Optimus, Elon sees that robot being worth more than their car business and worth more than FSD. Next up today, some updates about the Tesla mobile charger debacle. Recently, people noticed that Tesla removed wording mentioning that the mobile connector was included with a new vehicle purchase. This is the charger that I use at home for my car, and many others use this with a standard outlet or other connector like NEMA 1450, which Tesla sells for $35 to $45. It has now been confirmed that Tesla is removing this charger. That means that new Tesla deliveries at a certain point won't actually include any way to charge them out of the box. Instead, you'll need to pay extra for the $275 out-of-stock mobile connector. As I predicted, the reasoning for this was due to low usage data. Elon Musk said, quote, "Usage statistics were super low, so seemed wasteful. On the minor plus side, we will be including more plug adapters with the mobile connector kit." This brought a lot of backlash from Tesla fans and others alike because this charger doesn't seem to have low usage like Elon Musk claims. Data attained by TeslaScope shows that 61% of charging sessions from new vehicles came via the mobile connector, while 32% were with the wall charger. TeslaScope doesn't have as much data as Tesla themselves, but these numbers are still based on a lot of data and show a very different story than Elon's claimed super low usage. Additionally, if they drop the mobile connector, it should be easy to buy, but it's currently out of stock. Luckily, after a lot of feedback, Tesla and Elon changed their tune at least a little bit. Elon said, quote, "Based on feedback received, we will drop mobile connector price to $200 and make it easy to order with car. Note, mobile connector is not needed if you have a Tesla wall connector or to use superchargers. Recommend installing Tesla wall connector well before car arrives." That wall connector is $500, so definitely not the easy solution for people already spending this much on a car, but the reduced price of $200 for the mobile connector is $75 less than the mobile connector bundle sells for when it's in stock. Tesla has yet to make this change on their website, but I hope that they will simply add a checkbox to the options when you configure your car. Some people don't need the mobile charger, so they can opt out. For those that need it, they can add the $200 accessory when they order or before they take delivery to ensure that they have a charger at delivery. It now appears that this change is in place for orders as of April 17th. That should mean that if you ordered prior to April 17th, you'll still receive the mobile connector with your car when you take delivery. After April 17th remains unclear, but right now appears to not include a mobile connector or an option to add one to your purchase. I think the online option will end up working out for Tesla, but this is still a very unpopular move. Not including a charger with an electric car is just silly. The whole point is that you take delivery and can immediately charge anywhere, even if it's a normal slow outlet. Now Tesla is removing that option, and it appears that a lot of people rely on this mobile charger kit. They have now removed moving passenger lumbar support, radar sensors, HomeLink, center console USB ports that support data, and the charger. Hopefully this trend doesn't continue from here, and they fix this particular debacle in a way that helps switching to an EV be a seamless process. Next up today, we've seen a few new features coming to the Model Y out of new factories, like the cargo cover out of Giga Texas, Berlin, and Shanghai. Now we have a couple of extra upgrades that people have noticed coming from Giga Shanghai. The Giga Shanghai made Model Ys now include a carpet liner in the door pockets. This is a welcomed upgrade that makes those door pockets a little easier to use. They also should help reduce rattling from whatever is located in those pockets. Overall, it just removes or covers up a little more plastic in the car, which helps to make it feel a bit more premium at its price. There are also carpet liners located near the rear door sills, where passengers enter, improving on the plastic that used to be there. Then it appears that Tesla is adding lights to the rear door pockets as well. All very small changes, but notable improvements that little by little make the car feel better and better. Hopefully these small changes or upgrades will come to Fremont soon, as well as the other factories Tesla will be making the Model Y in this year. This, along with the cargo cover, have yet to be seen on the Model Y made at Fremont, even though it appears to be standard at Giga Texas. Giga Texas hasn't started customer deliveries yet, which is why this cover still hasn't been seen. Speaking of production for the Model Y, Giga Texas has delivered first Model Ys with 4680 cells to employees, but it's clear that they still have a ways to go with production ramping. Over at Giga Berlin, however, Tesla is in the ramping process. They delivered their first 30 Model Ys built in Berlin at a delivery event and have reportedly delivered more to customers in the area. Overall, quality looks great, but they are still in the scaling process, which means that they can pay a little extra care to each car they produce. This particular performance Model Y delivery, posted by Plaid Tech on YouTube, shows the cargo cover in action. Reportedly, Tesla is now producing about 350 Model Ys per week in Berlin. True production at that factory started about a month ago, and Tesla is reportedly aiming to ramp up to 1,000 units a week by the end of the month. That factory is still using 2170 cells for the Model Y, and Tesla will shift to 4680 cells there when they can. Tesla has said that they will switch in a few months, but I wouldn't be surprised if it takes longer than that, since 4680 cells themselves need to be scaled up. They still have a long way to go in both Berlin and Texas, especially considering that Giga Shanghai produces about 2,000 vehicles per day. At Shanghai, production is just now resuming, with Tesla implementing a closed-loop system to follow restrictions. They're slowly ramping back up as expected, and reportedly 8,000 workers are back at the factory. The battery and motor production lines are back at full speed, and then vehicle production is expected to ramp up slowly over the coming weeks. This shutdown already impacted Tesla's output quite a bit, and it will take some time for Giga Shanghai to be back at 2,000 vehicles per day. Those production issues and the slow ramping at their new factories are tough, but Tesla clearly isn't the only one affected by issues like this. What we're seeing with Ford and the Mustang Mach-E is that, quote, due to high demand, the current model year is no longer available for retail order. Limited inventory may be available at selected dealers. Contact your dealer for more information. It looks like Ford is not taking any orders for the 2022 Mach-E. They stopped taking orders of the Mach-E Premium in California Route 1 edition in March, and now they aren't taking orders of any configuration. This could have to do with a number of factors, including the semiconductor shortage, halting production, but also general demand for EVs soaring. Additionally, Ford is raising the price of the Mach-E in multiple markets, seeing increases around $8,000 for certain models in the UK. Those price increases haven't yet arrived in the US, but likely will soon whenever orders resume. Ford and many other companies continue to underestimate demand and haven't figured out how they will get batteries at scale for their EVs quite yet. This is an issue Elon Musk has talked about for a while now, and Rivian's CEO is now warning that an upcoming battery shortage will be a much bigger issue than the chip shortage. He said, quote, semiconductors are a small appetizer to what we are about to feel on battery cells over the next 2 decades. Tesla has warned about this for a long time, and they've been planning ahead all the way down to mining of raw materials to ensure that they won't have an issue making batteries. Many other companies have simply relied on suppliers, and it's going to be a big contributor to the availability of EVs in the near future. Many Many are making electric cars that are cheaper than Tesla's, but the real question will be if these automakers can actually make and ship these cars to more than just a handful of pre-order holders. Next up today, Tesla has introduced Tesla Insurance in a number of new markets. Tesla Insurance for a while now has only existed in California. It has existed as a normal insurance plan, but has also provided significant savings for many Tesla owners. Tesla has talked about expanding for some time now, and specifically expanding their insurance with a real-time driver data product. This uses Tesla's safety score calculator to determine how your real-time driving is in order to calculate your monthly rate. Some see this as a great thing, incentivizing drivers to drive well for a lower monthly rate, while others see it as giving away too much information. An example of this shown by Tesla shows that a safety score of 90 gets a premium of $121, whereas a safety score of 98 gets a premium of $83. Interestingly, that real-time product has only been introduced in states other than California due to regulation, and those states have included Arizona, Illinois, Ohio, and Texas. Now Tesla has added 3 new states: Colorado, Oregon, and Virginia. That means that Tesla Insurance is now available in 7 states with real-time driver data, and California for a normal policy. The safety score can be enabled for California customers, but it is there for, quote, educational purposes. Last year, Elon Musk said that Tesla is aiming to have Tesla Insurance in most states by the end of 2022, and they are clearly aiming for that target by adding multiple states every couple of weeks lately. New customers have already noticed significant savings by switching to Tesla Insurance. This customer in Virginia was paying $550 per month for a Plaid Model S and is now paying $159 with Tesla Insurance. Sean Mitchell found his quote to be nearly 5 times cheaper than the same policy from Progressive. One reason they are likely able to offer lower rates is because they have the data on their safety systems. They know that while these cars are more expensive cars and they are expensive to repair, the safety systems can help prevent accidents. Next up, one of the biggest advantages of buying a Tesla is that you have access to their ever-growing supercharger network. No other EV has access to their network in the US, and it makes fast charging a Tesla far easier than any other EV. You have a lot more options, and you just plug in, it's charged to your Tesla account, and you're good to go. Now, new documents are showing that Tesla actually has a major cost advantage when deploying superchargers. Quote, a Texas program which gives grants to install fast EV chargers as long as they support non-Tesla cars got applications by Tesla. This was a first for Tesla in the USA, as their stations normally only charge Tesla cars. Also interesting is the amounts of the grants, which can cover 70% of the cost of the chargers to a maximum of $150,000 per charger. Tesla's applications ask for as little as $30,000 per charger, while most other applications are claiming the maximum $150,000 and perhaps cost even more. This could mean that Tesla superchargers cost around 1/5 that of chargers installed by others like EVgo, ChargePoint, and more. In 2016, Tesla valued each supercharger location at around $285,300 or $49,000 per stall. Now superchargers have increased in power, going up to 250 kilowatts, and the price appears to have gone down. This is another example on top of raw materials, battery supply, chip supply, and general EV production that shows how ahead Tesla is specifically when it comes to electric vehicles. Their supercharger network already makes their cars far easier to charge than other brands' EVs, and installing more chargers costs them about 1/5 of what it costs others. It does appear that those Texas chargers may need to be open to all EVs, and that is something Tesla plans for the long term, and that will just be another moneymaker for them if they can open up their chargers to all EVs. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see 9 new EVs coming this year, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.